If I get pulled over doing any bullshit right now in Washington, D.C. area, they'd hook my ass up. They'd be like, oh, you're a Fed? I'm like, yeah. Okay, well, hop in the back. They don't care, man.
Yeah, I actually experienced that. I lived up in D.C. for it was only like 3 years. And I was going from D.C. down to Woodbridge to one of the FBI facilities. And I had Secret Service in the car with me. So we got, and those HOV, right? Everywhere else, HOV means 2 or more.
Yep.
But in D.C., oh no, you have 2 people in there, you get pulled over because you're supposed to have 3. And I'm like, hey, what's up? I'm a team guy. And then the Secret Service, he's like, yeah, and I'm Secret Service. And he's throwing his badge around. And we're kind of like, hey, give us a break. And no, not so much. Got a big old fat ticket. Because I didn't have a third person in the vehicle with me.
You know about that stuff. I went to the Spy Museum, man. It's all about Clint Emerson at the Spy Museum.
No, it's not. There's a little itty bitty ear thingy there, but yeah, they took the best part. The CIA came back and took my damn mask out of there.
Did they really?
They did. They took it and they put it in their own museum, which is fucked up. They're inside the CIA, you've got 2 museums at headquarters. I don't know if you've been over there, but you got one that's like, well, they used to. I haven't been in a while, but they've got the one that's kind of dedicated to modern stuff, and then they've got one that's dedicated to like the OSS days and some pretty cool artifacts, I got to say. But supposedly they took it out of there to put in their own museum, which is bullshit.
Yeah, I think I was over there like right before COVID or right after COVID, and I saw your little mask. I was like, hey, there's a Clint Emerson. Yeah. Took some pictures of the books down in the Spy Museum shop.
Yeah. I think I reposted them too. I appreciate that. It's awesome.
Look at book sales. Look at the what was that? What is that book I have right here? The Rugged Life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Though, is like there's so many independent publishers out there, not independent writers, and getting these books out there and getting notoriety off of what they know and what they do. I mean, that's one thing good about social media.
It is. And talking about books, I mean, my path is the very, very first book I wrote was called Escape the Wolf. And it was a little handbook I developed when I was at the NSA. I self-published it because prior to that, it was in a 3-ring binder and I used to hand it out to my students for free. Right. And then one day I was like, man, I got to make this thing look and feel and smell like a real book. So I self-published it. Right. And then it's a long story, but anyway, yeah, I ended up getting screwed over by that guy, and then I started actually getting published, by the big guys in New York, Simon & Schuster and Penguin Random House. But here's the deal. For those of you aspiring to be like an author or you think about writing a book, like you can self-publish now, and if you've got a great following, you can like make more money off your self-published book than you would if you go sign a deal with a big publisher. But it's all about, you got to have that social media piece there. But you could have never done that before, right? Before, when I did Escape the Wolf, there was no social media. And now I'm reintroducing it back here in October. And I'll actually probably, get the money back on it that I invested into it, because back in the day, it cost a fortune to do self-publishing, But anyway, yeah, I think it's capitalism. But I always question, do you think democracy drives capitalism or capitalism drives democracy?
It does. Democracy does drive it.
Yeah.
You can't do this in China. You can't do this anywhere there's a communist rule. And,
that's a good point.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
Well, the other thing too, I want to tell people about self-publishing is now it's not just Amazon. You can self-publish and get that book in the Barnes & Noble catalog and everywhere else. And, all you're talking about out of pocket nowadays is get some good cover material and get someone to edit that thing and then get it ready to go for Audible and ebooks and stuff. But just do it.
So did you self-publish or did you get published with Unwavering or Out of the Shadows?
Unwavering, I had a small-time publisher, but then I found that it wasn't edited correctly. So I had to get a little battle and get that book back. I got the book back. I had it edited, and then I self-published it. And I got into Barnes & Noble and everywhere else. The second book, it was just a little primer on the border and about the little kids coming across. And I did that one real quick. That was like 80, 90 pages. And I self-published that one. And that was super easy to do.
Yeah. That's cool.
I'm writing another book right now, and it's going to be like, I hate this word, but self-help motivation type book. And
hey, those do really well these days.
I just want to, I got 30 years in this game, and I'm like, why don't I just tell people, and then I'll use some of the interviews I've had and stuff and just get this book out there. And I'm kind of on a cuff whether I'm going to self-publish that one or if I'm going to actually query it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I will say the advantages and disadvantages, like advantages of being a published guy. Number one, credibility, right? That means somebody in New York vetted all your crap and said, yes, we think this will do well, right? It's kind of a great, they got a great system up there that determines if it's going to do something, right? And majority of their books fall on their face anyway. It's just the way it is. But I think the beauty of it in the system that I've established and figured out is like, if you rotate published, self-publish, publish, self-publish, you get the advantage of the publishing, which comes with marketing and a PR team to push that book.
Yeah.
And then you follow it with a self-published book. And then you go back to the published book, then self-published, you can see it. And then that way, because listeners, you don't make a lot of money off of a published book. I'll tell you that right now, because they give you anywhere between 7 and 15% of the sales. And that's after they get their advance back, right? You don't make a dime in royalties until they've made their money back. So there is no risk for them, other than if your book never actually sells and they never make their money back. But, and that's why they don't give you a whole bunch of money up front either. So anyway, just a little author lesson, writing lesson there. You're listening to Can You Survive This Podcast? Thanks for tuning in. Please make sure to subscribe, rate, and share on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your favorite shows.